Hey y'all, I'm making me an old recipe that I've been craving for a while that my grandmother used to make all the time. That I just loved it and I don't hardly ever make it. But when you get to missing some family members, you tend to do some things that remind you of them and it could hold you close. You can hold them close to you with some recipes they used to make or different things like that. Well, today I'm making my grandmother's old recipe, which is pork chops that she used to kind of fry a little bit, and then she would put it in a pan over rice with some mushroom gravy, and then she would bake it. It would be so tender, and you'd have the rice underneath here. So I want to show you and take you along as I'm making this. And sorry I can't do my stand so you can see me, but I have my grandbaby and I can't do my stand today. So, but anyway, I'm going to take you along. And what I do is I start off with, I season my flour, I season my pork chops on both sides and rub it in. Then I'm going to flour these pork chops, and then I'm going to just sear them and fry them on both sides to get them browned, but not cook them through. And when I do that, then I'm going to assemble all the stuff in this casserole dish. So let me get that started, and we'll come back and we'll show you what the next step is, okay? I got my pork chops floured. I put in my hot pan. I already heated up with the heat up and grease. And we're going to be browning these. Now my grandmother, she always used thinner pork chops, but this is what I had in the freezer and this is what I thawed out. So I'm using what I have. These will just have to cook a little bit longer and bake in the oven, but they'll still be delicious. So we're going to just brown them up. That's all we want to do. We don't want to cook them through. So they just get a bit golden brown. And a lot of times when you want comfort food, you start thinking of foods you grew up with, or foods that your loved ones used to make for you growing up. And this is one of my comfort foods that my grandmother used to make that the whole family always loved. This is one of her signature dishes she would used to make that we always loved. Her other signature dish I missed that I've never had from anyone else that can make it like her was her coleslaw. I'm not a big coleslaw person, but boy, my grandmother can make the best coleslaw in the country. So maybe one of these days I might get good enough to make coleslaw like her. And here we go. Look how pretty brown and golden brown it is. All we want is some golden brown, a little crisp on it. And I can cook it all the way through. I'll cook up all four of them that way. A little bit more. We'll have to get all these edges, sand it on the edges and get it cooked up too. Get it browned in there a little bit. That way it looks gives it like a little more flavor and gives it more color as you're cooking it. Looks more appetizing that way. And been missing some of my loved ones a lot lately. And trying to do some things that remind me of them. And this is one of them that reminds me of my grandma. You could, her and her sister could cook like you'd have thought. Good old country cooking. They could do it for sure. Oops, I need to get my phone on the the meat and show you what I'm doing. Get my ends, since it's a thick cut pork chop, I gotta get the ends brown too, the best I can. Leave that down and oops, I'll pop that grease on me. I'll brown that. A little tricky sometimes with one hand. You might hear a little one in the background. I'll have to take a little pause and come back. Now I'm cooking to the next 2 pork chops. I got those done. I'm getting these browned up on the outside. And as soon as I get those browned up, then we'll pull it together this casserole. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and get my oven preheated to 350. It'll be preheating. Just browned on this side. Or as my camera gets to moving a little bit off where I'm cooking, I got it one-handed. We're getting it done. We're getting it done. It smells good. I've got salt and pepper and garlic that I rubbed into the meat on both sides with the flour. I had salt and pepper also in the flour as well. So it's got some good flavor getting cooked into the outside of the meat. It really smells good. Anything with garlic smells good, don't you agree? I know I agree. Stir it down here a little bit more. Brown. I won't really get those insides brown too much because the grease is not that deep to brown it. And if you want to like deep fry or anything, just trying to get it brown. And it's going to be brown enough as it is. You hear a little one in the background. I take a little pause there and give some attention to this little sweetness in the other room. Looks like this one's about ready to take off and being browned. This one's about ready too. Almost. It's a little bit browner for what I want it to be. Looking good, looking good. I'm going ahead and turn this grease off. Yep, there we go. I'll save that and put that ready too. Alrighty. Take this grease off the burner. Okay, now we're going to assemble this casserole. I have lard or grease or any kind of pan, what kind of grease you want to put in the bottom of it so it won't stick, rubbed into the bottom. I have 2 cups of instant rice poured into the bottom. I have some melted butter. Gives it much more flavor in here. Now I'll be honest, I don't know if my grandmother did the butter or not, but I do. I know I love the flavor, but she may have. She just kind of did things, not necessarily by recipe, just simply by memory of what she liked and how she liked to make things. Some recipes she used, but I just know this. If butter wasn't one of them, it is now. Now, different things that I remember. I have 2 cups of cream of mushroom soup in here. I have 1 can, not 2 cups, but 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, pardon me. I have 1 can, or is it 2 cans? I think it's 2 cans of milk in here. I have salt, pepper, and garlic. Now, from what I can recall, I thought she used some the onion soup mix, powdered mix, but I don't have that. So, but I do have the onion flakes, chopped onions, and I put some of those, put quite a bit of those in there already. And onion soup mix is a lot of like brown gravy mix with onions in it. And so I already put a little bit of that brown gravy, just a little bit of it, not a whole lot. Just enough with the mushroom soup and the milk and the seasonings to get the flavor of how she used it. I'm just going by memory here, no written down recipe. So next, I will pour some of this mushroom soup on the rice mixture. And we will get it spread out here, because as it cooks, the liquid in this mushroom soup and the milk and then the juices of the meat and the butter will all cook into this rice as it bakes. And I can see I may need to do possibly a little bit more soup or maybe a little more milk. It's been a little while since I made the recipe, but okay, we go from memory, we go from eye. That's a lot how my family cooked a lot of times by eye and by taste. And so that's what we do. But I kind of try to measure out a little bit so you get an idea if you want to make this, how to do it. All right. Now we're going to get these pork chops and place them in here. Oops. Always pretty brown sides in here. I'm sorry. I get the camera moved off of it and I don't mean to. Now, the next thing I would do is pour the rest of the soup mixture on top of the pork chops. I'm going to do me a few more of the onions on top of the pork chops as well. And as they cook, that will really be Pretty scrumptious in my opinion. I can't wait to taste all this. Hope my grandma's looking down saying, good job. She'll probably be telling me, oh, it's this way or it's that way. But sometimes we just cook from memory and from flavor. And sometimes we can tweak a family member's recipe. And sometimes make it our own. But still be just as good. I'm going to go get a few more of these little drippings out of here. Be right back. I had to have both hands to get to scrape the rest of it out of the bowl. All on top of here. And put just a little bit more seasonings. Your soup mixes and are pretty loaded with sodium, so I'm not going to put any more sodium on it, no more salt. I'll put me a lot of garlic. I love me some garlic. Can't go wrong with that. So what I'll do next is I'll put aluminum foil on top of this. I'm going to put it in the oven. And we'll come back and I will show you what it looks like when it's all baked. Like I said, I'm going to bake it at 350. And I'll probably bake it for about an hour. And I'll see the doneness of the rice and the inside of the pork chops. Make sure they're all done. Or I might check them within 30 minutes and check them as I go along, because I don't recall how long I used to bake them. So we will see. And I'll let you know at the end just how long it took to bake all this. And you'll get to see the finished product. See you in a little bit. Well, y'all, here is the finished product. About 10 minutes. I let it cook for about an hour. About 10 minutes before it was done, I put in a cup of water. And I kind of stirred it a little bit more. It needs just a little bit more liquid. I put it in there for the last 10 minutes with the aluminum foil off. Let it get good and bubbly. And then soak in the rest of the water into the rice. Pulled it out, so it cooked for a full hour. So let's plate some of this up. You can see the rice is all cooked into that soup. And it's going to be absolutely delicious. It smells just like it did in my grandma's kitchen when I was little. I remember her cooking this. Now you could cook up a side vegetable with this. I haven't at the moment. I'm going to serve it with my little bread. Let me slice this open. It's going to take 2 hands. Let me pause this and I'll be right back. Got it cut. See, it's good and done in the center. Cooked all the way through. It's good and juicy. It is not dry. And it's going to be so good eating with this rice. So y'all, this is my lunch for the day. And probably my supper. I don't have it for a few meals. So I'm going to go enjoy my meal. And have some good memories of my grandma while I eat. This is pork chops with mushroom gravy and rice. And I'll post a video for y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Until the next video. Bye.